Welcome to the Namaste Show, radio to inspire enlightened living. Namaste simply means the spirit of love in me honors the spirit of love in you, and all is well. I'm Charlotte McGinnis, your host, and I thank you for joining me today. It seems like no matter where you turn these days, there's always some little gadget, some little trick to help make us feel better. Well, I have a great idea that can maybe help you feel at your optimum, and that's Kangen water. Kangen water will bring your body back to homeostasis and give you energy and vitality that we're all looking for. If you're interested in learning more about this Kangen healing water, go to h2o-kangen.com or call Ellen at 828-697-1556. Are you feeling like you would like more clarity and inner peace in your life? Are you looking for a unique and personal gift for someone? If you have not been to Emerald Lotus, you need to go. My friend Lori Fothergill has created an amazing sanctuary for the body, mind, and soul. Emerald Lotus has wonderful spiritual tools and gifts, workshops and classes, and spiritual guidance for anyone who is seeking more inner peace and awareness in their lives. Go see Lori today at 1750 Brevard Road in Laurel Park in Hendersonville. Her number is 693-0301. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Namaste Show. I'm Charlotte McGinnis, and I'm your host, and I want to thank you for tuning in again. If you're a regular listener or if it's your first time, welcome. Really happy to be able to share this time with you each and every week on WTZQ at 8:30 a.m. in Hendersonville, North Carolina. So today, I thought I would rehash a talk I gave last week at the Namaste Center. And incidentally, I'd love for you all to come check me out on Sunday. We have so many great people who come. We have a great spiritual home at Fitness Fusion at 419 South King Street in Hendersonville. We've got a great group of people who come in and join as spiritual family, and we're very social and friendly, and we have great messages and music. It's a really happening, fun place to be on Sunday mornings. So if you're free and you want to just check it out, you are personally invited by me, and certainly tap me on the shoulder, and I'd be happy to give you a big old hug, okay? So where I'm going to go today was, as I said, a talk I gave not too long ago. And what I started this talk out with was based on giving a little bit of a summary of some of the fantastic people who have come through the Namaste Center and shared great messages. And I find it so exciting because although I love to teach and certainly don't have a lack for words to say, I really appreciate and value all the people who are out there doing great work and studying and learning and presenting great messages that are universal and all about love and enlightenment and peace. And some of the ones we've had lately have just really focused on some really cool things. Number one that I talked about last week was a fellow from Asheville, Michael, who actually really reinforced our oneness with everything in the universe and God and the quantum field. And the quantum field being that everything in this universe is energy, and how they've actually just recently, very recently, in the past few months, have discovered what they call the God particle. And if you break anything down, be it our physical body or a chair or a glass, if you just break it down to its most finite particle, it actually is energy. And they call this the God particle. And that is what everything is made of. And it's very cool. It's mind expanding and something to think about, that we see everything as through the eyes of judgment and form and what we're told to see it as. Yet beyond our limited vision, there is actually a particle of God that flows through everything. And I find that so exciting. And Michael was just not only a great teacher, but what I valued more was his sense of peace and his ability to just be there, but not become rattled by anything. He was just that example of inner peace that we're all seeking. I go back often to the Gandhi quote that we must be the change we wish to see in the world. And A Course in Miracles says we teach by demonstrating. I think eventually we get to the point where we've all read the books, we've watched the preachers on TV, we've been here to this seminar and studied this and that, but it all is used as a means to getting us to that place of inner peace and knowing our connection with Spirit and everything and everyone. And when we're there, then we don't sweat the small stuff anymore, because we know behind that, beyond those things, is something much, much greater. So it really is, we learn all these things, but yet what do we do with them? What happens when you go to church on Sunday morning? Are you able to maintain that message and live by that? Or do you immediately go home and start yelling at your spouse or your children, or go angry into your job? What are we doing with these messages? We had a great couple, Ken and Lloyd, who came in and spoke about forgiveness. And there was actually some infidelity in their marriage. But rather than to choose to throw the towel in and leave, not only did they choose to stay together, but they chose to really work through this and take ownership of their part, each of their parts in this infidelity, and then be able to offer the greatest gift of forgiveness. And you know what? The most beautiful part of their talk and their experience and time shared with us that day was the fact that every day their marriage, after 56 years, gets stronger and more loving. Now, we could use that as an example in anything in our life. Am I using my challenges to forgive and move beyond and get the real lesson and grow? Or am I using it as a means to blame and get angry and walk away? So often I'll hear people say, well, I've been married 4 times and I keep drawing the same person into my life. Well, there's no coincidence there, folks. When we draw the same things into our life, it's because we haven't learned the lesson from the one before. Whether it's you go from the job to job, I know people who it's always the boss's fault that they get fired. Never their fault, never assuming any responsibility. Or they're in a marriage. Man, I've married the same guy 4 times. What the heck is wrong with these men? Well, we need to accept a little responsibility, maybe more than a little responsibility. We need to really take a look at what our role is, where we're contributing to these patterns that continue to happen. There's a great book that I've referred to often, and it's written by a fellow named Michael Rice, and the title is very simply, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? Is there any area in your life that maybe you see patterns and things are happening again and again? Maybe instead of pointing the finger, as they say, when you point a finger at somebody, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you. So what am I putting out there that is really perpetuating all these same lessons to keep hanging on and happening again and again? And it's so empowering when we do take ownership and see that we do play a role in these things we bring in our life. And then when we're able to forgive and move on, then we've got that clean slate of creating the future that really we desire, which is one of peace and cooperation and collaboration, abundance, prosperity. So as I said, we've got the information. What the heck are we doing with it? Are we just going to continue to spend money on books and seminars and going to church, listening to the preacher say the message over and over? Well, yeah, those are all useful and helpful tools. But do we, as I said a minute ago, when we leave, what are we doing with the information? Something to ponder and think about. As you know, I like to say, think about it. So here we are, one of the greatest things we're hearing in all the political talk. And God knows you can't get away from it. If it's on the TV, on the internet, at the coffee shop, wherever you go, people are talking about this election. And it's great they're talking about it. But I find one thing that is continually brought up over and over and over again is the question, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And most people would say, oh, no, my taxes are more, my bank account's less, I'm way worse off. And in the world of form, that could be the case. And even, quite frankly and honestly, I can attest to financially, I am in much less financial state than I was 4 or 5 years ago. But if I go a little deeper, I am much better off than I was 4 years ago, because I'm not so wrapped up and attached to my external world so much. My needs are being met way easier now than they were. When I've had tons of money in the bank or very little, it doesn't really matter except how I choose to relate to it. And I will say that my life is better than it was 4 years ago, because every day I wake up with the desire to grow and know spirit at a deeper level. And when I do that, I'm not so dependent on the external things in my life to satisfy that within myself. I just know that I can be at peace no matter what's happening. And as I talk about often, that's when we really step into our mastery. So what is it that is making your life difficult or challenging? Is it the stuff in your life that's continuing to make you upset and angry? But if that's the case, we all have day-to-day life situations that can be challenging, but we can shift the way we look at it. We can move from conflict to peace if we choose. Don Miguel Ruiz, many of you may have heard of or read a book that was actually a very simple little book that came out maybe 20 years ago. And it's a little spiritual book called The Four Agreements. And in this little nugget, you can read it in an hour, maybe not even, but it's a life changer because it really teaches us very simple spiritual life principles. And a quote that he's made recently, which I find so appropriate for these times and certainly for my own life. And what Don Miguel Ruiz, R-U-I-Z, says is, who stops us from being free? We blame the government. We blame the weather. We blame our parents. We blame religion. We blame God. But who really stops us from being free? We stop ourselves. And when we recognize that, I'll use the great example of Nelson Mandela, who was imprisoned for years and years. And when he was released, he knew that he had to forgive and let go of that time in his life, or he would be a prisoner to it when he continued his life as a free man. So we have to really understand that we are the ones responsible for either living as sovereign, free beings, or if we continue to perpetuate fear and angst from the past. It's a choice that we all must make for ourselves. Deepak Chopra, he says it this way: every time you are tempted to react in the same old way, ask yourself, do you want to be a prisoner of your past or a pioneer of your future? Well, which one sounds better, prisoner of the past or pioneer of the future? Shouldn't take too long for you to think which one feels better. I don't want to be a prisoner of my past. I want to be a pioneer of the future. But if I'm choosing that for myself, then I have to be willing to forgive and let go of my past, no matter how much I think I'm justified and how much reason I have to hold on to it. I have to be willing to let go. Then I can make a much clearer, newer, and much freer path that I choose to create a future of well-being and happiness and peace and joy. Have another great little saying here. Life always gives us exactly the teacher we need, and at every moment, this includes every mosquito, every misfortune, every red light, every traffic jam, every obnoxious supervisor or employee, every illness, every loss, every moment of joy or depression, every addiction, every piece of garbage, every breath. And in that moment is the guru. So whatever it is that's happening in our life, it is for our highest and best interest. It's our guru. And what is a guru but a teacher? So all these traffic jams, diseases, illness, depression, mosquitoes. I love that. Everything that's in our life is not there by chance, but rather for us to learn from. So what is it in your life that you can think of right now that you could learn a little more from and use that as a guru to your own inner awakening and your own peace, serenity, and joy? So let's go into the break here, take a moment to honor our sponsors, and we'll get back into this conversation in just a minute. Thai food is not only delicious, but it's good for you too. My favorite Thai food is Hendersonville's first Thai restaurant, Thai Spice. Jan and Nook share their authentic Thai recipes with the freshest ingredients available and create dishes pleasing to your taste buds and your tummy. Their friendly, accommodating servers and staff make the experience all the more enjoyable. Stop by soon and check out Hendersonville's best Thai food. There's a good chance I'll be there too. You can see him at 220 South King Street in Hendersonville, 693-7323. Crystal Visions is a sanctuary for the spiritual seeker, providing resources for transformation and growth, including books, music, crystals, jewelry, and more, serving the greater Hendersonville community since 1989. In this sacred setting, you may experience spiritual and metaphysical teachings, guidance, meditation, sharing, and laughter. This is a safe haven for you to reflect upon and voice your thoughts about your earth journey. Their capable and loving staff reflect a broad spiritual background that serves to enhance your experience here. Crystal Visions honors and welcomes all paths. Visit Blair today at 5426 Asheville Highway in North Hendersonville, 687-1193. Did you know that disease cannot live in an alkaline body? Of course, we all know that a healthy diet, abundant in fruits and vegetables, is good for us, but did you know that by drinking Kangen alkaline water, you can restore your body to homeostasis, which is its natural state for healing? Sound too good to be true? Give Ellen a call at 828-697-1556 to find out more about this miracle water. You can also visit her website, h2o-kangen.com. I've been drinking Kangen water for 3 years and I love it. Change your water, change your life. Welcome back, everybody, and I hope you took a few minutes to acknowledge and honor our sponsors because they make it always possible each week for me to be here with you. And they're certainly supportive of me, and more important, that they are inspiring the world through the messages and their businesses just by being there. They are all beings of well-being and light and love. So please support them in any way you can. They're all wonderful people. And it's all about us gathering up all these good people. And there are a lot of great people out there, aren't there? But I do have a little thought for you, maybe thought-provoking. And that is back to the idea of self-responsibility. And you know when someone just really gets you and you're angry and you're upset, and pointing your finger at them and blaming them and saying it's your fault that I'm upset and angry, or I don't like this in you. Here's a little exercise you might want to take on. If you don't like someone, call them by your own name and watch your judgments then. You know what that means? That means that rather than saying, Joe, you're such a slob, I could put my name in there and say, Charlotte, you're such a slob. Well, either we'll giggle or we'll feel a little like angst about it. And if we're feeling the upsetness about it, let it go. Because everybody is just showing us exactly what it is in ourselves that we don't like. That has been proven psychologically that what we don't like or care for in another is really an unhealed aspect of ourselves. And the more healed and happy and peaceful we become, the less demands I place on my brothers and sisters to fill a need in me. There's a quote from A Course in Miracles that I just love, and it says, those who see themselves as whole make no demands. So the more healed I become, I don't need you to act a certain way because I'm content and happy with my own self. Those people who have the most sense of judgment are those who are really in the most fear and the most feelings of aloneness and separation. People who are genuinely happy and at peace, they just let things roll off. As a matter of fact, if you look at the common denominator about people who are centurions, there is a club of individuals, men and women, who live past the age of 100. And they went to these people all over the world, and they had even a book written a few years ago called The Blue Zone, and the Blue Zones, plural. And in these blue zones, they said, well, what is it that makes these people live so long? They had some people, they had a diet that was totally contradicting the diet of another blue zone, and lifestyles were different all over. So there was not anything that they were necessarily eating or doing that was making them live these long lives. But the common denominator that flowed through all these people was their ability to forgive, not to hold on to grievances. Having a grievance or a judgment or anger towards another is like drinking poison. If I'm holding on to a resentment, that eventually takes hold of my body energetically, and that if I feed that, it's like feeding a cancer. And that's why a lot of times when people develop these very serious illnesses, they can heal themselves by taking a look at past resentments and judgments and freeing themselves of this pain of the past and being willing to forgive. So I'm saying that illness, it does have many components to it, but certainly in all cases, it wouldn't hurt one bit to let go of any grievances you have, because the centurions, some of them smoked, some drank, and some ate seaweed, but the common denominator is that they have a great sense of family and self, and that they let things roll off. They don't hold on to anger and resentments. So we talk about right now, especially with this election coming up, as we were told years ago, it's the economy, stupid. How often did we hear that? And yeah, the economy is certainly not looking so hot and wonderful right now. But as I've talked about in the past here, that we need to create a new system, a new paradigm, and not try to sit here and manipulate and fix one that's not working. It's like building a foundation on toothpicks or sand rather than stone. We really need to build that foundation on spirit, and that is a foundation that will not fall, but we have to be willing to let go. Well, as you know, Marianne Williamson is one of my favorite spiritual teachers out there today, and she has a great statement about abundance and prosperity. And this is one from her book that she wrote probably 15 years ago called Healing the Soul of America. And she goes on to say, all abundance comes from within as consciousness precedes matter. Our economic policy should be this: to teach and remind every American of his or her inestimable value and potential, to create the context in which those gifts are most easily mined, and then strictly adhere to the ethical standards by which each person is held accountable for what he or she does and does not do. Banks should not be at the center of our economic policy. The stock market should not be at the center of our economic policy. We should be at the center of our economic policy. Our education, our welfare, our creativity, and our potential for genius. So as she goes back in the very first sentence of this statement, all abundance comes from within as consciousness precedes matter. So we really have to change our mind to change our reality. Choose peace. Know that we are created in perfection, that we're created to be abundant in all ways. And that necessarily doesn't mean that we're going to all have millions of dollars in our bank account, but trusting the flow of the universe and knowing that by changing our consciousness, being willing to let go of past grievances, that I am making space for a new future to unfold. There is a very simple lesson in A Course in Miracles, which I must say this mantra to myself all day long. Anytime I get upset or worry about my future or the future of the world, I say to myself, I place the future in the hands of God. And that just washes me clean of any fear or trepidation that I may have going on in my life. I'm able to see things more clearly and experience things more peacefully. So allow yourself this gift. Take responsibility and know that abundance, health, well-being all come from within us, not from outside of us. The outside world is just a reflection of what lies within me. That's why people who are healed and whole see the world in its perfection and are able to navigate through it peacefully. And that's why people who are externally driven and motivated are never happy, because the world will never satisfy them, because that's not where our peace and love and contentment come from. It's an internal matter. So in chapter 30 of A Course in Miracles, it's titled The New Beginning. And I see this time in our evolution as spiritual beings here on planet Earth, that we are at a turning point. We're at this tipping point where we have the decisions. We need to make decisions that are going to create a new future, a new beginning for us. Or we carry the old paradigms and systems in, and it may be our demise. So we need to take heed of this thought and create a new beginning. Because it says here in the Rules for Decision of chapter 30 in A Course in Miracles, the new beginning now becomes the focus of the curriculum. The goal is clear, but now you need specific methods for attaining it. They are not new to you, but they are now more ideas than rules of thought to you as of yet. So we need to practice them, because they're rules by which we need to live. We seek to make them habits, and then we'll have these for whatever we need. So it's up to us, as A Course in Miracles describes itself as being a course in mind training. We need to train ourselves to align our thoughts with those of spirit, those which unify, not divide, those which bring peace, love, and understanding to everybody, and first and foremost to ourselves. Because if we have that within ourselves, then that energy extends and expands to everyone that we encounter. So every day, when you get up in the morning, you might want to spend a couple of minutes and say, what kind of day would I like to have today? And then sit here and spend a little time with Spirit. I want to be happy. I want to feel prosperous. I don't choose to worry about my bills or being late for work, whatever it is that's got us worried. I just choose to be in the flow of life. And I'm willing to say, but I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't have to even worry about that anymore, because today I will make decisions not by myself, but with God. That means that I'm willing to surrender and let go, that I'm choosing not to be the judge of what to do. And it also means that I'm not going to judge situations that are in front of me. So I really am saying to myself, you know what? I really don't know what anything is for. My way has not really worked so hot up to this point. It is going to be a great relief for me to let go and let God, and then just hold on and watch the journey, because it is awesome. And if I really do allow myself not to make decisions for myself, but rather allow Spirit to guide me, lead me, and direct me, then through practice and devotion and dedication, life gets so much easier. I can promise to you from experience, when I'm in conflict and life is a struggle, it's because I'm trying to run the show. And about a month ago, I had my own little miracle. Lots of things in my life were really in turmoil and challenged, and I was trying to fix them and manipulate them and make them work, and it just got worse and worse. So I finally just threw my hands up and said, okay, I surrender. But I meant it, and I surrendered at a deeper level than I had in many, many years. And by doing that, wow, the world opened itself up to me. So in closing, what kind of day do you want? What kind of life do you want? Another great quote from A Course in Miracles is, a healed mind does not plan. That means throw your ideas out the window, open up to the bigger possibility, and see the gift in all things life brings to you, because every encounter is a teacher if we just allow ourselves to see it that way. So I hope you choose love, choose peace, and live in harmony. And thanks so much for tuning in, and look forward to joining with you next week at 8:30 a.m. on the Namaste Show. Namaste. I invite you to join me every Saturday at 8:30 a.m. on WTZQ AM 1600 and on Sundays at 11 a.m. for the Sunday Soulful Celebration held at the Namaste Center at Fitness for the Body, Mind, and Soul, 419 South King Street in downtown Hendersonville. Go to our website, thenamasteshow.com, for more information. Until we meet again, namaste.